Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Westerly Public Schools School Building Subcommittee meeting for Wednesday, January 28th. The time is 6:01. Members present are Kristen Federico, Giuseppe Giancarelli, Christopher Duhamel, Daniel Lathrop, Michael Ober, Dr. Mark Garceau, Mark McKinnon, and myself, Justin Hopkins. We also have representatives of Downs Construction Corporation as our owner's project manager, and DBVW, and ONG, and NCA. The first order of business is approval of meeting minutes from our January 14th, 2026 meeting.
So, second.
Okay, any further discussion? That's right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Right.
Okay, next order of business is public comment. Any members of the public wish to address the school building subcommittee?
Yes.
Okay, please state your name and address for the record.
Name is Patrick Cusick, CUSLCK. I'm a project manager for A&J Electric. We were the electrical contractor on the Westerly Schools projects, Springbrook Elementary School and Dunn's Corner Elementary School.
Welcome.
Thank you. You need my home address or?
No, I think you're fine. For the record, we also have Christopher Lund in attendance this evening. So that was fine. Name and affiliation. Now the floor is yours.
So I'm just here to respectfully request that the school building committee consider and approve the pending change orders that we have for the project. I think that we admirably delivered the project on time so that the schools could open up. We've done everything we possibly could to effectively close out all punch list items for the project. And we're due a considerable amount of money that we don't even know if that's been paid to the construction management company, and it hasn't been distributed out to us. And so we're significantly behind. We're a local employer. We've done other work for the school department, successfully delivered on other projects, and we're here to do whatever we need to do to get this project closed out and to get payments made. So if there's any questions for us, we're here to answer them as well.
Okay, so I should have laid the ground. We don't often have public comment during these meetings, but the way typically public comment works, you make the public comment. There's not a back and forth. It's not a discussion.
Understood.
There will be an opportunity for the subcommittee to respond to public comment. But I'm sure when we get into the actual agenda items, as a guest, as a member that has been working on our projects, that will be the time that we can engage in discussion, or if there are any questions. Okay, thank you very much. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, anyone else?
Yes.
Yep.
Anthony Lucari Jr., Rhode Island Division Manager of A&J Electric. And I'm here for the same reasons as Patrick Cusick. He works for me. He's one of the project managers, and we're here just to figure out, we haven't been paid since September 2025. It's a lot of money to owe to a Rhode Island company that employs union staff considerably every day. We have to meet our monthly bills, pay our union benefits, which we do. We're on time. Every vendor's been paid in full. And we feel as though right now we've been bankrolling for hundreds of thousands of dollars that are way overdue. And we can't get a face-to-face with our general contractor. We have several emails for several months over and over, and they just won't bring us to the table to discuss the open issues and the open change orders that we face.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else wish to address the building subcommittee? Okay, at this time, I'll open it up for any subcommittee response. I'm sure there will be discussion when we actually, in the packet that Down sent out, there's a lengthy list of change orders to discuss and are up for approval, as well as invoices. So I guess I would just open the floor up.
So the change orders they're talking about are on our agenda?
Yes, they are part of, they would be part of, approval of invoices, but we typically have historically approved change orders, under the owner's project manager / architect update. So I believe there's probably a lengthier discussion, when we get into that agenda item.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, so the next agenda item is approval of invoices. I think what we should probably do is get into the owner's project manager / architect update so we can facilitate some discussion about closing out Springbrook and Dunn's with tower construction and hopefully address some of the items that were brought up during public comment. Does that sound okay to everyone?
Yeah, so you want to move number 6 to number 5?
Yes, because we actually do have an invoice. I think we need to have a formal motion to flip item number 6 and item number 5 as part of the agenda.
Make a motion to switch item number 6 and number 5 on today's agenda.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Okay, so owner's project manager / architect update.
Absolutely. I'll go first on this. So we do have some housekeeping items and you'll see Patrick and Anthony that we are going to be addressing many of your concerns this evening. We are first looking to, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here for everybody who has the agenda under the owner's project manager. We're first looking to address the issue of the certificates of potential completion. Today, Eddie and I, and actually before that, had been working closely with Tower, and they have greatly improved upon the response. And I don't know if you have an actual real-time update, but I know that we met with Tower 2 weeks ago over any chips, and they were very close to complete on that, which was very reassuring. There were a couple of items that Ashley gave the direction on, so we should have that complete. I know that O&M manual information has been steadily coming over. I believe that.
They're both still under review.
Okay, great. That most of the attic stuff has been received.
Correct.
And punch lists have been improved upon greatly. So we have gone from, we were over $1 million in September, and we're down to a value of $408,000 of monetized punch lists between the two schools. And some of that includes these outstanding closeout items. So not all of them. So they are still improving upon that. We are going to still schedule work for February vacation and just keep working towards getting that punch list completed. That said, we have in-house a requisition from Tower, requisition number 15. And to try to bring everything up to speed, because our monetized punch lists right now are updated through January 22nd to reflect work that was done on Martin Luther King Day. I requested and Tower obliged to date that requisition January 20th. So we kind of got a point in time where we have being billed for work and we can look at where we're at with the monetized punch list. So right now, as I reported, the value of the monetized punch list is at $408,290. With payment or approval of requisition 15 as submitted, we will have a balance due to Tower of $461,938. So the amount we're holding is greater than the value of the monetized punch list, which is why Ed and I feel that we should be approving that requisition as submitted. And as you can see, we have contractors who have fortunately been caught in the middle on this.
If you can just, I'm sure members of the building committee would like a little bit of a narrative or just an explanation of some of the work that has been going on with our general contractor to make sure that we can get this closed out. There's likely going to be a question is, why do we have subcontractors here asking for payment, et cetera? So I don't know if you want to, I'm going to preempt some of the discussion, and some of the questions that are likely to come your way. And just offer you the opportunity to describe, perhaps Ed and yourself, just, some of the,
How we got to this point?
yes.
Yes, okay. Absolutely does.
We don't know how you said we're very close to complete. You could also talk about how it is we're gonna ensure that we get from that point to complete.
Right,
How do we get there?
right. Well, we're still holding
Yeah.
the money. And obviously that's the incentive for them to, complete the work. So we just keep working with them. They still have final completion to achieve. We're not, like signing substantial completion, we are not signing like a final completion. So we still have that goal to meet. So that is one big incentive right there. That is the money that we're holding on them. And they have been very open. And Josh has really been leading the team for Tower. We're working towards getting everything closed out.
Pretty much.
We had an issue with, the exhaust system in the kitchen at Don's, yesterday and the day before, and he was very responsive. He's now working with our site representative, and they already scheduled a meeting to meet with the.
So I don't wanna pull you off the
No, I just
narrative
feel-
that Justin was asking. for.
No,
That's
exactly.
helpful. Yeah.
So unfortunately, there just became a time when there was no interaction with the contractor. And, it's kind of like what A&J's been going through. So there wasn't much movement on the punch list, and there was definitely no movement on the documents. But I'd say probably before the holidays, that seemed to start changing. They got quite a bit of work scheduled for the holiday break, which was 2 weeks. They got a lot of work done. And then they started working on the closeout documents. And I think that was mostly because Josh everybody had been pulled off the project in this late. And Josh's project got delayed and he got put back on the rest of it. And that seemed to be the biggest change. That's what we needed. We needed someone assigned to complete the project. And he's doing a very, very good job, I have to say, for someone who's brand new to this. So that has been the change, is that they just finally put someone on it. He's been consistent, he's staying on it, and he's getting a lot of encouragement. Ashley gave him a lot of encouragement. I know Ed is, and I am as well, and we're helping him in whatever way we can, because I think he's sincerely trying to finish this job strong. So that's been the change. If that changes, if he gets pulled off, we're gonna know right away, because I know we've talked to him almost daily.
Very much.
And we'll report back that that seems to be a problem, because they need to keep someone on the project to complete it. So that's literally how we ended up here. Justin, I don't know, can we take a question from Patrick?
Eventually,
Yes,
but
okay.
I'd like to,
I agree. We just
there's an
gotta-
order of business, we'll loop you in.
Okay.
I want to first, let's see if any of the building committee has any questions. And then we can open it up to some of our partners here.
Absolutely.
When was the punch list supposed to be completed? What did it say in the ticket?
Well, it is common for a punch list, to be completed over a few months, especially with school, since it's occupied. If you've got systems that have to be shut down, or mechanical, or you're working corridors, classrooms, it just becomes very difficult to get work scheduled. It has to be after hours, weekends. So that's why we've been trying to do as much, holidays. We do as much on the holiday breaks as possible, because some of this work is, I'm sure that Patrick's gonna knock behind you, that they need to shut something down. It's gonna be multi-days, so you just can't.
Right, but they knew
do
that.
every night. No, they knew that.
Yeah.
They knew that, but it's common for it to take a few months. Fortunately, we all knew it was crunch time to get the school open, so there was a substantial punch list. That's what they started with, and then there really wasn't a lot of time to get that done. And there wasn't a lot of management by Tower, frankly. So now that they have someone on that, and they are working very closely with Mark, I know you've been doing work during hours too, on top of that. So, recording very closely to get as much work done as possible, and it seems to be working very well.
Great, and then you said if Josh gets pulled. So if we approve this and then Josh gets pulled,
Well, we
You
still have
enough
money. We still have the money.
Yeah.
That's the idea, is to always hold enough money so that if we have to hire someone else to come in and finish the job, we have the money. So that's the idea.
And it seems to be a fair balance. And is it substantial completion that's keeping A&J from getting paid?
Well, we need the substantial completion approved. It should be approved at this point, honestly. Any
So,
concerns we have, I think, have been, handled at this point. But we need substantial completion approved to be saying that we're still holding this much money and released funds, because we can't really release retainage. That's actually part of that is retainage until you have substantial completion signed. And Joe would tell you, yes, we should be signing off at substantial completion at this point.
so that is why they haven't been paid.
No, it's not why they haven't been paid. It isn't. It's that the money that they were billing, honestly, was more. The amount of the requisition was more than we were holding for, than we still would be able to hold, because the punch list had been so big. And we needed the time to go back and inspect. Ashley did that back in November, December. He did that recheck. It was still at $750,000. So we couldn't pay a $1.3 million requisition. The tower was reluctant to revise that requisition and bring it down. And they just kept working towards a point where they finally got that value of the monetized punch list below what we would owe them. So that was the goal, is that because they wouldn't revise it to a lower amount, we had to allow them to keep working to get below what we would be holding. And now we're at that point.
Did you say once that they weren't putting in the requisitions properly? They weren't documenting the time that they put in?
We still have some outstanding items. We have 3 CCDs that were approved, and we still need a lot of time and material backup on that. Those are still out there for negotiation, conversation, and we have some change proposals that are still out there. But
And we have received a few revisions this week.
Yes, we've done some revisions this week. But we do have a list of change proposals for work that has been completed, that has gone back and forth and is now in agreement, that is going to be presented in change order 16.
So that's delayed payment also, right?
Absolutely. But these change proposals had been sent back by Ashley, but had not been sent, the revisions hadn't been sent back by Tower. So they kind of got stuck. So now they've all come forward and we have change order 16 to approve. So that will add another $69,000 to the money that will be holding until the next meeting. And so if we see, a change in the management of the closeout, we can discuss that.
at this point, if we look at the picture of this, we were holding about 1.7 to the completion of the project.
Mhm.
Are we paid for work? Have we paid for work done through October, through August, through
Through-
December,
Through August 31st, we paid.
through August 31st?
Yes, Tower is
Alright.
paid through August 31st. They submitted this original amount of 1.3. They submitted this first on September 30th. They were told it was too much money. This punch
Because
list.
they hadn't finished
The
the
punch list,
$130,000 work.
yeah, the
in
punch list hadn't
September.
even been completed and monetized at that point. And they were told, this is too high, you need to revise it and bring it down to what work has been completed. October 31st, it was resubmitted, the same number, for the same amount. So this went on for a few months. And then November was the last time it was submitted, still told, but we haven't even had a chance to go back and punch. So after the Christmas break was when that big bulk of work got done. That brought that amount down. So now we can say, okay, we can pay this amount.
Mhm. So now we've matched what was submitted on September 30th.
Yes, it's been the same
Yeah,
amount. They have
yeah.
not reduced the amount of
Yeah,
billing.
and but the work caught up to.
Yes, the work caught up. Yeah,
Yeah.
the punch list work caught up to what they're billing.
Yeah.
Exactly, Dan.
Alright.
Thank you.
Patrick, I know you wanted to jump in here. Patrick. that's
Yeah,
it.
I have a
gave your
couple
name.
comments. I mean, my first comment is I take exception to the monetized punch list. Quite honestly, from my perspective, it doesn't actually represent the conditions of the job. When you look at, for example, the monetization of, filling the fuel tank. There was an issue with the fuel sending unit on the fuel tank. We had the vendor come down and replace the fuel sending unit. And, the tank was demonstrated to Mark as being full 100%. And there's like a monetization of $1,000, which is more than almost the value of filling the tank completely. It doesn't make any sense. And so, who is representing the architecture firm here?
I am, and that's since been taken off the list.
Okay, so, but why is the monetization so far off? Like, I don't even
All right,
understand.
I'm gonna jump in here. These are conversations that are better held in a project meeting than at a building committee. And it's a little disappointing that we've risen to this level, that it's come to the building committee.
I mean, honestly, we haven't been paid since September. I mean, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's why we're sitting here. And, we don't get any answers out of the general contractor.
Yep.
And that's why we're face to face today.
Mr. Chair, can I?
Sure,
say a few things?
please.
So as someone who's been on the outside and been doing this for a very long time, I met with Howard Construction. We're very concerned about the payment getting out to subcontractors. There has not been an approvable payment application for the last couple of months. We've met with them a couple of times to help them get there. And when I say we, Downs, DBBW, I've had separate personal meetings with their leadership to help them. Unfortunately, we're in a situation where we have to help them. Us sitting here pointing fingers, talking about people not being here, things not getting done, arguing about monetized punch list is not going to get it done. We have to just continue to have working meetings, or be sitting here 6 months from now being in the same place. We have an organization that just needs help closing this project out. And that's really what it is. And at the end of the day, us holding back the money are not really affecting them. It's affecting the gentlemen that have been working and their laborers that have been working. So, we've made a commitment. I've met with Ed, I've met with DPW and their leadership too, that we're going to work together. We're going to have to help them because that's the only way we're going to get this closed out. There's going to be some stuff that we are not going to agree on, but hopefully that is a small pile, and then let's agree on the 80 or 90% we can agree with and get them paid, and then just put the items to the side that we have to have further discussion on. That's the only way we're going to get through this. I think that they've come a long way just in the last few weeks. I can tell you that much. I am concerned when I'm hearing the same words back here of hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I look at pay apps that I don't see hundreds of thousands of dollars left there to pay. But there are, I think, some change orders out there that we're waiting on that could be some of it. What we need from Tower next is a reconciliation of what they paid their subcontractor, what they're owed, what the change orders are, so that we can help manage this process and go through it. I know that everybody's frustrated by the process, but, again, talking about it is not going to help. We really just need to dig in and just help figure out and come up with a solution on this.
Yeah. So in the recommended approval language for the application of payment, there are some conditions that payment to be processed with the following conditions: receipt of all required certified payroll reports and lien waivers, the acceptance and signature of the certificate of substantial completion as issued November 4th. What is the date of that's identified on the substantial?
October 31st.
October 31st.
That was immediately after we had the BDA approval and the fire marshal signed off.
Okay, so are we confident that those conditions will, because I probably share many of my fellow building committee members that, if these are conditions that in order for us to release the money need to be met. And I just, I'm a little nervous about us thinking that the $1.4 million is we've approved, and then a protracted time of trying to reconcile all of these other things and having our subcontractors, who I know have worked hard on this project, and got us to the finish line to open school. I don't want them sitting in the lurch for continued months. So.
Well, substantial completion right now has DPW's signature. If we agree this evening, we'll have Dr. Garsos. So that'll be back to Tower. I see no reason why to move this forward. we're all doing our best, and they have their own responsibilities here to work towards that same goal. So they should be signing that so that we have that substantial completion, so that we can be honestly paying a requisition that has a majority of items of 100%. So it needs to get done. The certified payrolls and lien waivers, I have requested, I'm waiting for them. They have submitted many to date, so it is the same situation we've had, unfortunately, in past months, but I haven't received anything from November. So I know they worked over the holidays, hopefully they're putting that together, and I'll get that over to Cindy as soon as I have it, and I think maybe tonight's approval will be a catalyst for them to, go ahead and get whatever they need, and they get it to us as soon as possible. And the other condition was, it was just a note that we're in agreement on the total. Some of these 100% approvals also have a monetized amount, so we can't just say that it's 100% complete, because it really isn't. So we're looking at the amount now, and if anybody's going back in time to look at this requisition, we also have to consider that monetized punch list.
So,
One question.
yeah, go ahead.
I might have misheard you. Have we been releasing or reducing retainage as well? Did you say that?
No, we have not
Okay,
to this
I
day.
must have misheard.
Right,
you.
because we don't have substantial completion. So that's why at this point, it's substantial completion, that can go into the kitty with what we owe and what has been released.
So we will release some for a portion of the retainage.
Well, we'll still be, yeah, a portion will be released, yes,
What's
with
that?
this payment.
Like what percentage that usually wind up being?
Well,
typically?
it actually, I
I'm
should
just
say that.
curious.
I didn't correct you that. That 1.3 doesn't include any release of retainage.
Okay,
But we may be paying for some items that are still being monetized, punch list items are still being withheld.
right.
So for us to look all the way down at the bottom and not get into, a long detailed conversation about every item and where it's at, we just say, we're still holding 461.
Okay.
That includes retainage.
Okay.
And that monetized punch list is at
Okay.
408. So we're still in the black.
Yeah.
That's all we want to make sure.
Right.
Is it,
Right. Yeah.
anything
exactly.
has to be taken care of, we still have the funds to do so.
Okay. Thank
So we're good.
Well, let me just caution everybody to be fair, right? So if things break, something happens, you cannot hold them responsible and hold money over their head. They have a warranty period, they have a surety. So we have to be fair, because ultimately holding Tower responsible is holding the money from the other contractors. So we want to protect the job, but at the same time, contractually, if something is done, but then something happens, we can't hold the money because of that. We can notify them if there's a warranty period. We have to be fair to the contractors.
And honestly, Joe, I can say that hasn't happened.
Yeah,
Right?
I just want to make sure everybody.
Everything that's on there, our items that just have not reached completion. So,
But what about the error one? Is that in the part of that? Was that part of the punch list? The error on the signs?
oh, no, because that wasn't Tower's issue.
Oh.
Yeah, they installed per the design documents and it was approved. So. We'll get.
Any other questions, you guys weren't,
What was the error that was just referenced?
it wasn't an electrical error.
It was a signage issue.
It was a sign.
It's in a plastic sign in, it's a straight.
We have an incorrectly spelled, name of our school on our sign.
Which will be taken care of.
Very large.
Yeah.
You guys are one of the certified payroll offenders, I take it.
We've asked, and every time we submit, and, my wife is the office manager, so obviously everything's submitted, daily logs are done. I believe that I'm just saying it just because I know we do it every day. They have every documentation, everything.
Yeah.
They give them
Oh, you haven't been on the list.
We give them everything in
Yes.
advance, on time, and we haven't been paid since September. I mean, empathy from this board is what I need. Imagine not getting a paycheck for 5 months.
We feel like we excel in this project. We drove this problem, quite honestly,
We had to help him. Right.
Yeah. We had a lot of problems with the electrical, switchgear manufacturer, a company called Eaton. They typically, they have the best pricing and then they under deliver on delivery times. We had the gear show up late, they delivered it to the wrong location, we transferred it, we got it installed. There were mistakes made with it, we put it together in a month, so we got that switchgear room operational in that building. And turned the building over
On time.
on time, and
And we incurred about
Well,
$100,000.
honestly, I know we've talked before, but honestly, we wouldn't have opened school if it wasn't for your company. So we greatly appreciate that you persevered and did the right thing to make sure that that school opened. So honestly, we all are indebted to you for that. So.
And this committee has never not wanted people to be paid.
No,
Yeah.
I just want to
never.
make sure that that's.
Yeah,
clear
that's
from
why-
the Committee standpoint.
Right, that's why we haven't.
How
Before
it's
you
heard
before
worse
something
month
happens.
after month, and we're stuck behind, it's
Yeah.
very unfair.
Oh, we don't want that for you.
And I would like to, you shouldn't have to come to a building committee meeting.
We never had before. That's first one ever, 40 years.
I'm in the business. I'm usually at building committee meetings, so it's very rare to see a subcontractor. So on behalf of the ownership side, I want to apologize that we've gotten to this point. Okay, so the way that I understand it is there's kind of an order of operations here that we need to conduct first before we go into approval of invoices, and I know we also need to discuss State Street. But my assumption is that we need to approve as a committee the certificate of substantial completion for Dunn's Corner and Springbrook. We then need to move on some change order number 16. And then ultimately, I think we're going to move the application for payment on our agenda item of approval of invoices, but we need to do the first two
You're
things
absolutely
first.
right. Let's do those first two.
Okay, so are there any, I guess let's start with substantial completion first. Are there any concerns from the building committee of moving this along? I can tell you, I had a conversation with Dr. Garceau yesterday. I don't know, it might have been after shoveling a ton of snow. But conventionally, you issue a substantial completion certificate after occupancy and after what's a term called beneficial use of the building, which we started school on time. So from my perspective, it's not uncommon to issue the certificate of substantial completion, provided that it has the reference, which it does, to the punch list. Really, the trigger for that is the start of the warranty period for the items complete. Notwithstanding items that are on the punch list, those warranties come into effect on the date of final acceptance or final payment. But it also triggers the other things like release of retainage, et cetera. I do not find personally a compelling argument that we would withhold this certificate of substantial completion, especially considering our kids have been in the school building since September. So does anybody else have any issues? And if not, we'll entertain a motion to approve AIA G704.
Make that motion. I second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay. There's a lengthy list, by my count, 15 cost proposals that are a part of change order 16 in the total amount of $69,244.95. I believe these are all pieces of cost proposals that we've discussed with DBVW in the past. But I guess sparing everybody from having to go through a forensic analysis of each cost proposal, I guess I would open it up for a broad description or any specific questions that anybody has regarding any of these items. And it looks like it's a combination of wireless controls for Dunn's Corner and Springbrook, an additional sink that I believe we spoke about at Dunn's Corner, added fire alarm devices in the fire pump room at Springbrook, added benches at Dunn's Corner, some modifications to a fire rated wall above CMU at Dunn's Corner. For Springbrook, low voltage connections to door hardware, added monitor modules for fire alarm at the fire pump, some above ceiling wire cleanup. This was the subject of a CCD number 5 at both Springbrook and Dunn's Corner. Some cage protection at fire alarm devices at Springbrook Gymnasium. Some regrading of an outdoor classroom at Springbrook. A credit for stair nosing at Dunn's Corner. Revised art room sink drain at Dunn's Corner. And additional paint prep at, I'm assuming this is at existing door frames at Dunn's Corner. Okay. Is there any additional explanation that anyone requires regarding these items? Okay. So hearing none, we will entertain a motion for approval of change order number 16 for tower construction in the amount of $69,244.95 for additional work required at Dunn's Corner and Springbrook Elementary Schools, inclusive of all of the change proposals listed. And I will say 059R, all the ones that say R, by the way, are revisions, which lead me to believe there was so much back and forth for most of these change orders. So 059R through 114 as listed in the Downs Construction Owner's Project Manager report.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you, Justin. Now, do we want to move this over to State Street?
I think we should.
Absolutely. Now we'll
Yep.
come back to the requisition.
Yep.
Absolutely. Done. Now that you've suffered through all of that. Lots of fun stuff.
State Street. Things are going there. Got a little slideshow. One thing I do want to just point out quickly, for the order of the order. TSKP Studio is the only name you see up there. NCA is now formally merged with TSKP Studio, so that's one update. So almost no change in my role and everything. Thank you.
So did you remove the logo off of the vest?
I didn't get my vest yet. They didn't have the extra larges. So it's easy.
So maybe one more. I want to reintroduce myself. I'm a familiar face. My name is Ray Smith. I'm now project executive at Downs Construction, so I'm working directly with Deb now, including on State Street.
And Joe, I don't know, do you want to introduce Nelson or did you already? Yeah.
So, Nelson Reese is going to be our project manager over at State Street School for Home Industries.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks.
So where we are today, again, just a quick update in terms of schedule, January 28th, on schedule, the O&G schedule from last summer shows phase 1 complete in late April. We are continuing to trend towards that. As you'll see from the photos of progress, there's been significant progress over the last couple months. And again, you've got some updates on FF&E with the bid process at the last meeting. We have a wide range of their April through June. That'll start to get refined a little bit as we continue to get some updates on procurement on the FF&E side, but don't see any major hurdles there. Still giving you your move-in on schedule there. And then phase 2, again, the demo of the existing school and the site work being completed in the fall. Yeah, again, the progress you'll see in some of these photos, December and January were significant progress on the project. And the exterior, a good amount of work happening on the exterior, almost all complete with the siding and the windows. I did notice there were some areas that the siding was getting finished this week, but really in great shape. Just want to point out that trim and entry storefront, that progress continues. There's also point out that the siding, that both this horizontal siding, and then you'll see some vertical siding in other parts of the building, that staining process is going to occur in the springtime. So we're waiting for warmer weather for that to occur. And then I think I mentioned already that we do have gutters and downspouts along with the trim that will be completing. One of the things you probably notice out there is the amount of snow and water and everything just kind of pouring off the building and running down the face of the siding, but all of that will be alleviated by the gutters and downspouts that ultimately go on the building. Again, looking now on the north side of the building, a little bit more about how that storefront is getting completed. This is the north side building cafeteria, where the cafeteria is. There's no giant step there. The grading gets brought up in that area, but showing how we really are kind of wrapping down the building with the exterior being, obviously weather tight for many months, but now nearly complete. Some interior flooring going in on the second floor, some of the LVT, that luxury vinyl tile. This is, I think as of yesterday, almost the whole second floor was done, but this was the first classroom to get started a week ago. First floor, the general progress here has been some early coats of paint on the walls, the ceiling grid, lights, diffusers, all the above ceiling work. Some of the tile and grids, some of the radiant heat panels are in, but you start to get a real sense of the space and how it's taking shape on the first floor. And obviously flooring will follow fast on the first floor. The millwork, Joe was just saying that some of the millwork will start arriving next week. So that's the cabinetry and things for the upstairs classrooms. So really thinking about those upstairs classrooms, they're going to pretty much look and feel almost done in a couple weeks. So it's good progress to see. Gymnasium, all the sheetrock pretty well complete. They were doing some sanding. So you can imagine sanding all that drywall compound, but that's hopefully getting some good ventilation going. But again, some excellent coordination here in terms of lights and diffusers and the ductwork to get up the ductwork and sprinkler lines and all that. A very good and cooperative process between the subcontractors, between O&G, between ourselves and Downs. Really seeing all of this coming together nicely. So on to our PCOs and review of current PCOs and a draft of change order 7. So the first one is something that we've talked about, I think, on multiple building committees. Early on, it was about the design proposal to look at this potential for the revision to the PA and clock system. The design took place, reviewed with Mark and Michael and Dr. Garceau to take a look at exactly what they wanted. We had numerous iterations on the design side already of how this all can come together. Basically, this is going to the Telcor PA intercom and clock system. The design consultant GTC, who was our original technology consultant on the project, did a full set of revised drawings and specifications. They highlighted all of the changes to the system in red, so you get a sense of exactly how the depth and breadth of the extent. And this is just the A wing, the administration and first and second grade areas. So in essence, you're getting a sense of the scale there. And the fact that, as you can see, a lot of the walls are starting to get closed up and everything. So in order to get this work going, this PCO 26, again, is a revision. You were talking about how sometimes we get some revised PCOs here. This revision extracts the drywall costs, the painting, and potential for extended general conditions into a CCD that we'll look at later. This covers the electrical cost with Nolan or Arden as they are now. It includes both their subcontractor for the PA clock and intercom system, which is Cynet. That number is approximately, I'm going to say about 80% of their cost. The electrical contractor had their own costs associated with this, to the tune of almost $30,000. That work is for running some of the conduits, raceway hooks, all the things that they would need to do as far as the infrastructure goes. There are some increased power requirements to the centralized equipment in the MDF and IDF rooms. So that it requires some additional power, new circuits. On top of that, all of these clocks associated with the system are now are hardwired effectively, whereas previously they were just FM radio controlled as far as the signal goes, and then battery operated. These now, no more batteries. Your clocks are now hardwired, so you don't have to worry about batteries, and they're now integrally tied into the full Telcor system. So one of the revisions we did have here, we were working closely to try to figure out exactly. The revision did bring down the number of hours that Arden had for their oversight or management. We felt that was kind of a high number, so they brought that down. And that's where we are with this PCO 26, to the tune of $131,736.50. When we did talk about this, we were thinking that it could be in the six figures, when all was said and done here. Now, we do have to look at that CCD to also factor that in, but those are to be determined costs to some degree, whereas these are hard and locked in. And as soon as Arden and therefore Cynet get rolling on this, they can move quickly to start implementing this plan. Do we want to discuss the PCOs one at a time or go incrementally through the PCOs into change order 7?
I guess I will briefly pause if there are any specific questions about this. And I think when it came up at a past building committee meeting, I guess just take me through the path of travel of how this is a pretty big shift. So was this something that we didn't quite review in design, or there was a different thought process of how we were doing this? And have we changed from a district standpoint? Have we changed our posture on this particular system? I guess I'm looking at Mark McKinnon here. Do you recall?
Well, I do want to mention just how the bidding process worked. Again, we've had this with similar things like fire alarm, where we put in 3 names in the spec. This was not a sole source. We had certain things that were sole source, but this was not sole source, nor was the fire alarm. The contractor, subcontractors had the right to pick from the 3.
But they're all supposed to be comparable, right? I mean, you can't schedule a wireless piece of equipment and one of the equals are a hardware and not expect that they're downstream.
You want to take it? You want me to take it?
I was gonna
I think
Mark
Mark can probably also chime in on this about the process of what they've experienced in other schools.
I was trying to dig up when we first started talking about this. It seems like it was back when Julian was still around.
It was originally quite a while ago. You'll actually see on the ONG change order proposal, there are 2 PR numbers, very far apart. PR 11 was the initial request to start the process of changing this over. I believe it was because of issues you were having at some of the other schools with your vendors, and that was the change here. As this moved through the process over time, coming around to earlier this summer, we were getting confirmation that the requested vendor could not provide that had prompt manufacturing the direct So this design, which was put together by GTC in cooperation with that vendor, is their basically new upgraded system. So that's why it's not quite, and what you can't see in here, but is buried inside of the backup is the credits for that original system. So this is actually truly just a Delta.
Well, it's not just this, because there's a CCD that puts this total cost over $200,000.
There is, yes.
So,
So I guess I'm a little confused, and maybe this is just pure ignorance. Like, if we all look at our cell phones, they're the exact same time. Why do we need a couple $100,000 system to sync up clocks? This just ignorance, but like, isn't there a modern
It's
system?
not just the clock.
All right. I was gonna say.
This is also your public address system
Okay,
inside the building, which is also separate from your fire alarm. So this
it's
is
separate from the phone?
this is separate from the fire alarm. So this is the system you would make announcements over. It's also your part of your, direct intercom system between all the classrooms.
It just seems like doing a wireless system would be more.
So
Future.
the clocks were originally wireless. The PA system was originally fully analog, and this one is a hybrid digital analog system.
But if we had a wireless digital system, it seems like it'd be more like, this seems like something that technology would want to replace every 5 to 10 years. And if it's all hardwired, it'd be really hard.
Actually, hardwired makes it easier.
Really?
Because there's power there.
Because it means there's power and data for whatever you want to plug in.
That's what the biggest cost here is, going back and running power for everything here. Because
I guess what
That
I
was part of Mike Cypher's rationale as well, our tech director.
This is more future proof.
It actually is, yes.
you'll have the infrastructure in there for taking any change you want in the future.
I mean, we're gonna move this along because this is what the district wants, but I guess what I'm trying to understand is what do we own in the documents versus a $200,000 betterment to the project? Like,
Yeah, I think the basis of design was based on what the other schools had, if I'm not mistaken.
so it was a change to the basis of design. It wasn't,
Right, that's,
okay, because we started this conversation out saying it was, well, they chose an equal from, that was one of the basics of design.
unfortunately, there were discussions about upgrading, we had Mike just involved and all that. I don't think it made it into the design documents, unfortunately.
We have the system on Dunn's Corner and Springbrook.
No, they're existing.
So, before everyone, I know it's listening to a deep question here, what I'd like to do is, you're absolutely right, let's get all the way to the end where it's change order 7 that we're going to be approving. So if you want, I'll jump.
I have some other questions about extended conditions. I mean, this is
Absolutely.
not something that is done and it's actually going to increase our construction delivery time.
And I had a discussion with Mr. Vitro today about that. I don't believe that we should be, approving. We can certainly hold, but we should be approving extended conditions until we get to the end of our contractual time. So if this is going to go past the original contractual completion date, then we can obviously entertain them. But, we have a completion date in our bid documents, in our contract. And if it's not going to push it past that date, I don't think that we're in a position where we should be approving these, at least at this time. So it doesn't mean we have to reject it, but
Doesn't it say 0 days scheduled impact? Or
Again, this is the direct cost. This is the direct costs for the the electrical contractor, and their subcontractor, Sinet, who does the low voltage or phone, PA intercom clock, and then the O&G overhead and profit, at 10%. So that's this direct costs under this PCO.
But since we jumped around, I know I usually do my budget review quick in the beginning. I can do that quickly before we vote, and we can talk about how much longer we have left in contingency there. So everybody can make an informed decision.
John, would it be Justin, would it be useful to do these out of order of John's slides and talk about the CCD before we go back to the other two, just so we stay on train of thought?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Okay, so CCD, this is CCD, this would be CCD 4. So this is the, again, still related to the same PRs. It was termed PCO 29, but we would be doing it as a CCD number 4. Gypsum board. So this is for the other costs that are associated because we're far enough along in the construction process. There are going to be some removals of gypsum board. We don't want to have surface wiring everywhere. Then patching the gypsum board, then the repainting of the walls at the locations where those patches are made, and then there is an extended. The Deb referenced the extended general conditions here, put forward 30 days. If you total up all those numbers, we come up with a not to exceed of $72,875. Again, we've seen this, keep in mind what a CCD is. CCD is intended to allow the contractor to proceed with the work. We've seen that one of the CCDs previously came in below. You'll see again tonight, another one came in below. But what this means is these numbers, some of this information came out late last week. I've already sent my comments to ONG about some of these items. I would like to have further reviews and discussions about them. This is kind of, work in progress, but at least if we all feel that it's the right time to make sure that we get the gypsum board work and the painter on board to do some of this work, we can authorize the CCD. If not, we can hold. We can also split them further. We can say, okay, we're going to do a CCD just for gypsum and painting and then separate that from general conditions. There's a lot of options there. So I want to know how you feel and how you feel about it. So
I think what will be important is to kind of go through all of the remaining changes, get an update of where we are, because I think at your last meeting, I don't know how much of this was encumbered in your last budget update
This
report.
was not what,
The whole thing, the whole 200K was not?
no, the first part was, which had actually gone down a bit. It was, what was it, 460?
Okay.
So you'll see. I can tell everybody right now if you want. Quick budget. Okay. It's really.
We hit these, then do the budget
Yeah.
update, then do the vote.
Yeah. Thank you. I just, my only point on the description of the work sounds like we have to undo work to get into
Yes.
other areas. So it sounds like an extension of time. My expectation in your guys' review is that you're going to see it in the schedule that should be updated every month. And how it impacts the actual closeout of the schedule. Whatever that gets at the end of it is what the extension of time is. So,
yes. Okay, PCO 27. This is adding lamination to some tempered glass at the second floor opening. Kind of hard to see. Well, actually, we have our little view here, but this is that open space to where the skylights are in the center of the school. The windows here and then running along the side wall here that eventually come up across the stair. This is something that we had where we're required to have tempered glass. We have indicators on all of the glazing pit types on all of our elevations for where we're required to have tempered glass. We have on some of the windows that reach the floor, we already have some that are both laminated and tempered already. This kind of missed the drawing round because it didn't implicitly require tempered glass because it wasn't next to a door or wasn't below a certain height. It had no indication on our elevations. ONG carried tempered glass in their foresight. They carried tempered glass, but the question came up is, do we want to consider laminated and tempered? Simply for the fact that this glass extends out. There are lockers on the back side of the windows here. So you have those lockers. If anybody ever got up on top of those lockers and then tried to really destroy that glass, which would take quite a lot, that would be the concern, is that even tempered would only allow you to, that would hold the glass in place. The laminating layer is what gives it that extra layer of strength and fall protection, and seems like a really good thing to do. So this was a change put forward by O&G to say, if we add lamination to that glass, came to the tune of $4,802.76.
So it's a safety issue.
Yeah, I think it's, there was no indication on the drawings. It was very nice of O&G to at least already offer to make it tempered, because that was pretty consistent with what we had throughout the rest. And then, but stepping up to laminated and tempered is the best you can get for this type of area. So that's this one. And then what's called PCO 28, this goes back to CCD3. So CCD3 was discussed at our November meeting, where we had some coordination issue where there was ductwork and shear wall. This one has been through a lot of discussions between the early days of the CCD. A lot of different design options, tried to put forward a lot of work from the design team, from the subcontractors team, from O&G, to come up with a solution here that in the end is just is the most cost effective for the owner. One of the challenges here, this one had a hold of $50,000, but I'll show you how, after pricing it out, the PCO put forward was for $20,392.71. That is broken out by the HVAC contractor, who is $16,032.83 for the HVAC contractor. The gypsum board assemblies, because they have to redo some of the shear wall, some openings, $2,506, and then O&G's overhead and profit. So in this case, the what we were holding for the CCD is reduced. The actual costs recognized, again, a lot of this has to do with, unfortunately, somewhat the passage of time. A lot of that ductwork had already been constructed, so they had to go and refabricate the ductwork. The new location for the opening in the wall, that's why the gypsum board or the framing contractor had to get back involved as well to open up that wall to allow for a new opening, a new framed opening in a shear wall for the ductwork, something that worked. Never ideal. There are a lot of coordination things here that I showed you that picture of the gymnasium. There was a lot of coordination to make sure that ductwork, sprinkler heads, a lot of really good work from all the subcontractors to make sure that things got coordinated here. This really seems to be the one that I'll admit got away from us, got away from everybody. Just the ductwork got installed, and they had already fabricated a lot of it based upon their shop drawings. We would have loved more coordination early on, but in the end, they had already built that ductwork, and they had to reconstruct ductwork to make this work. So that's this. So that
20.
So the PCO is $20,392.
Didn't we already approve?
Yeah, he's saying that we're saving $30,000.
Right.
You're spending $30,000 less than we would have.
That's good.
So the change order 7 draft looks like this. The PCO 26 for PA and clock system, the data electrical costs for the $131,763.50. PCO 27 is the laminated tempered glass, $4,802.76. And PCO 28 the shear wall ductwork and gypsum board revisions, converting CCD3 to the tune of $20,392.71. That change order comes to 156,958.97. So this is where we just run it up to where you are currently, because change orders requires to show that all prior change orders were 283, current 150, almost 157. That's where all prior and current change orders together come to the 440,915.81. That does not include the CCD that we just looked at. And then I think, so do you want to, should I just hand it over to you at this point to go through the more of the finances and where we are in things, and then.
So I don't remember, we went over the budget of the last meeting you were at, and Ray's been through this before, but what I do is I do 3 separate control budgets, but just for, economy of time, I take those and then I condense them down to a global budget. So the number that you all want to know is what our contingency is at. What is our overage right now? So we have $849,299 left in contingency.
Does that
That's
include this?
after this, that's after what we've been talking about on Tower tonight. And even includes the outstanding change orders on Duns and Springbrook that are still open for discussion. It even includes those, and it includes the CCDs. So it literally includes all of our exposure right now. We are at 849,299, and then using your methodology, Justin, of just putting that against the remainder of work, that's 6.59%. Obviously, we dropped through this.
And what else are we carrying out there on potential PCOs? I mean,
We've got our playground, but I do have that included, a pending change order for what we carried in the budget, 475, and I also include the offset of the funding of 554,000 in the capital budget.
Taking the school down with their.
You
A lot
know,
of hidden costs.
we have a worst case scenario in there for an allowance for abatement, but
yeah, that's actually a good point. It would be interesting we don't need the information tonight, but I would be interested in understanding what that allowance is. Is it a PCB allowance?
It's for actually everything. It's for PCBs, all the asbestos containing materials, mercury ballast. It's actually, there's 8 lines for it in the states.
Maybe if we can get an update at the next meeting, just what that is, because I'd be interested to know the strategies if we have joint disposal, if we assume the caulking and everything is within the same, going to the same places, the asbestos containing materials. I know that's the state of Rhode Island's policy for their own buildings is to not test for PCBs and just assume that it's not. And if that affords us any economy, but that's another discussion. Thanks.
now, John, hadn't we talked about that before, that it was worst case, that you had assumed there was some PCBs?
Yes, I believe so. I believe all those allowances, but I believe I believe the allowances are exactly what Justin said, is already treating it as like it's all PCB waste.
Let's not,
Exactly.
I'm the biggest offender here of going on some tangent.
So the testing would
You're right.
only prove you wrong, which would be to your cost benefit.
Exactly.
So the testing would say, oh, it's not PCBs, okay, then we can hold.
Yeah, let's have the conversation again. There's a little bit more nuance in that.
Yeah, so we'll put that on the agenda for next meeting. So like I said, we're 820,000, so we're holding our own. It's good.
That's good.
Now, can I just ask you, did you say that already factors in an allowance for the playground?
Yes,
It does. Okay.
yes. It was the original price, so I'm guessing it might come in a little more, but
The value of the wide PA system and clock system. Is that a safety issue? Why do we reverse from the?
I think Deanne put it well, it's future proofing the building, you know, we've got this brand new building and we certainly don't wanna have it, you know, dated by the time it's finished, right? Like it really, going there with the original system and the original wiring, it really restricted the future of that system, what would be locked into it, and we might have gotten to a point, you know, 10 years down the road or even sooner where we couldn't even replace equipment. We'd have to then think about doing something different, possibly wiring it at that point. I mean, unfortunately, I know we've been back and forth with TSKB for months about this, trying to get, well, I mean, we've come before the committee before about a design cost, who was gonna own it. It was OG considered it, and then went back to TSKB, and then we waited some time, you know, because it took some time to design the system, to get it priced. And unfortunately, OG had to keep moving, so now we've got walls up, and we better talk about trying to get wiring there.
And Mark, is the recommendation that you,
This is the recommendation from technology.
right,
Yeah.
from technical,
Yes, we had this coordination meeting a very long time ago. We talked about all the technology and security. This one fell through the cracks along with some of the security details that we're now picking up as well.
Okay.
How does it help security? The coordination meeting we had before the project was technology and security.
That conversation and notes were back when Julia was here, so.
Okay, I believe, we have a motion, or we would be seeking a motion for approval of change order number 7 for O and G in the amount of $156,958.97, inclusive of PCO 26R1, PCO 27, and PCO 28.
Except for, we wanted to keep the time attention out of it.
That's the next item to discuss. Yep,
Jump ahead.
that's okay.
So moved.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Okay, so CCD 04 in the amount of $72,875.
So moved. Second.
Okay, let's discussion. Yeah,
Exclusive of the time, right? Which we would look at later on as the rest of the project proceeds.
I think we need to, so the CCD affords some not to exceed amount, assuming that we can have these further discussions regarding the, you know, validating the 30-day extension of time, correct? Okay. Okay, any other discussion on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I'm assuming this is it for what we're talking about for costs. Is there anything else that you want to bring up? as
No,
part of
we're
the-
good, we are good.
we just.
Okay.
Ready to
Taking care
start?
of some business right now.
Yeah, all we have left is
Okay,
paying a bill.
any project related questions to Deb or our design team partners? For any of these projects?
I have a question about, and you might tell me that this is maybe for Kathleen, and I don't know. I have a question about the plumbing issue that occurred at Dunn's, and again, like the last one, I don't know if it's true, but I heard there was an error in something being ordered the wrong size. But again, I'm gonna ask, where was the error? If it wasn't on the school department's part, that we shouldn't be paying for it.
Do you want to talk about that after we do the invoice, or I can? talk about it
Why don't we talk, this is the appropriate time to talk about it. Yeah.
Certainly, when we got into, it all has to do with this sewage ejector pump over there for the new septic system. And when we got into the wiring and all that, we found that the power supply, and I just like, get it right down, you said me behind you grinning, found that the power supply was actually three-phase. And we had to put in a sub panel, is that correct? Anyway, the controller was not the correct controller that we ended up having to switch to out there. There was a switch on the pump. We got the right pump, but the controller was not the correct one. So
Because why?
maybe just a little lack of coordination, not sure, but right now the controller is not working. So you're absolutely right. We have 6 bathrooms and various sinks that were shut down. Tower has owned the responsibility for this issue, and they are picking up the bill for a temporary pump out system, just so the sinks can be utilized at least, because right now, this time of year, there's a lot of, germs going around, so the kids can wash their hands. So Mark has, been up all night, many nights, weeks, months, never have slept, I think, since this project started. And he's got a temporary system in that, thank goodness, has been working to pump out a slump pit, so that the sinks can drain into that and it can get pumped outside.
So Tower has agreed.
Tower
All
has agreed.
costs?
Tower,
for this?
Tower, it's got the new controller on order. I understand it might not be here until next month, but in the meantime, they will cover all costs.
Labor
To
and
take
everything.
care of it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's soon to be February. Like, how, was this always an issue with the students running in? Like, how did we discover this?
This was planned for the Christmas break
Okay.
for install. While they were installing the pumps, they realized that the brains didn't match the pump and they needed the new controller. We've been down since that break time with different dates of the shipment. And it just got to a boiling point where we needed to put something in there, so we did. And I think the ship date is next week. And then so install will be anytime after it shows up.
So just for the committee, students have not been able to wash their hands in the classroom since we came back from Christmas break.
Well, you've got this,
They could go into the bathroom,
There was-
but in their classrooms,
There
right?
was a week where they were washing their hands and using the bathrooms, and that's when we realized it was a problem because the pit was filling up and more things ejected into that pit than we had first original. We had to shut more things down, which included classroom sinks, single-use bathrooms,
but you got
everything
this,
on the basement.
you got this temporary fix in place last week.
Yes.
And so now the classroom sinks are working. Yes, that was
I
definitely.
think that's as of today.
That was a
that
health
piece
issue,
was
yeah.
lowered
It went, it got
today.
installed on Friday, so it was ready.
So it's just that lower level.
Well, we had originally thought it was just a lower level,
Yeah.
and then we found that there were some bathrooms and then the hand sinks that fed into it, and we didn't notice that until water was coming out.
But it's just impacting the lower level now. Is that what it's offline?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and then was this what we were gonna come back to the signage?
The sign? The sign, I'm going to get you a price for a full overlay, not just on the guns. So we look like we renamed it. I'm gonna get a price for a full overlay on the sign and I'll put it to the committee.
And who's gonna pay?
So what I heard from Joe Gencarelli was that he was told by Tower that they would be picking up the tab for that.
Okay, so we wanna make sure
Tower
that we,
will only pick up the tab for the overlay of just the name, not this full, they're gonna pick up the cheap option is what I.
Yeah, we don't wanna,
I think
we don't
that's
want
acceptable.
to, brand new sign, we don't want that, we want the full overlay. So.
To
I'll
their
get-
credit though, it was not their mistake.
it was-
This is not Tower's fault.
Okay, so whoever's fault it was, should be picking up the tab. I know, I just feel like it's our responsibility on this committee to make sure that we're advocating for ourselves if there's an error, which happens. Who made the error should be responsible for it, and we shouldn't be paying more into something that was no fault of our own.
And I don't know if anybody on this committee approved that sign.
Yeah, let's get a little background on that path of travel.
Why don't I get a price and we'll see what it is. I'm hoping going that route. It's gonna be a lot less expensive than a full replacement.
We need to get it fixed, first and foremost.
We wouldn't be doing it in this weather either, so. Yeah, but I agree. We'll get the price and then we'll have that discussion.
Anything else? Okay, if we can move on to our amended agenda, approval of invoices. I think we went through the discussion on the application for payment number 15. Are there any further questions on this? Okay, so the motion that we would entertain is for tower construction, application for payment number 15 for Dunn's Corner Elementary School and Springbrook Elementary School for January 20th, 2026 in the amount of $1,389,857.29. With the following conditions. One, receipt of all required certified payroll reports and lien waivers, and acceptance and execution of AIA 8704 certificate of substantial completion as issued by DBVW on November 4th, 2025.
So. Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. No other invoices, correct?
None. This time.
Okay, item number 7, capital projects update.
Not much of an update for you guys since the last meeting.
Okay.
Still waiting on the financials to get approved, so we can go out and get A&E and OPM services.
Okay, any questions for Mark?
I just wanted to check in about feet moving forward at State Street and roof leakage.
At the existing State Street School?
Correct. That we're still in. Still there, and, you know, the weather's not getting any warmer anytime soon. We have classrooms that have been in the 50s. So
Is that a capital projects question?
I don't
or
know.
Is it a
What
maintenance
is it?
question?
I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not.
We are working
I
very
know,
hard to get
Mark, and I know you always are.
The heat has been better. That room with the waterfall is a problem.
Part of the problem last week was the Monday holiday, right? King's holiday, fire things up as early as we could have, I guess.
Right.
We've amended our schedule. We've got folks going in on weekends, holidays. There won't be days off at State Street.
That's good.
Won't be much longer.
Showing cold.
Okay, any other questions to Mark? Next steps, anything on the minds of the members of the building committee for next steps? One thing that I think we should start talking about is whether or not we're going to hold anything for start of demolition. I've jokingly said that we'll get some golden sledgehammers to some people, but I don't know. I know there's been a lot of communication regarding past State Street school students and having them visit the school. I don't know if, I guess that's a question for a future.
They did that, like, they did that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
I know.
you
But-
mean again, like watching it go down?
Well, I don't know if there's
They might not be
something
excited.
issues. Yes. They what?
We're not gonna be as excited,
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know
I
as
know.
the teachers.
I think the chamber wants to sell, opportunities to ride the wrecking ball. Right?
No, that's me, I'm on it, I'm first.
Okay, and then we did discuss.
Another fundraiser.
Yeah, okay, we can discuss that at our next meeting or future meetings. Anything else from anyone?
The only thing I'd like to ask is if anyone wants to take it, we're always there. So swing by anytime, check in with us about the trailer, let me know.
Is their days better? Is it so, like Tuesdays were for a while, so
Tuesdays are great.
I think one of that morning, and even if it's just the top floor, because we were in, the teachers were all, staff was all in, the week before Christmas, I think it was, and, you know, that wasn't done yet, but even that, we were like kids in a candy shop. So seeing like flooring and things like that, I think would be, and I know Audrey's really good at you know, committing it back to the staff about offering the classes.
Well, you guys have paid for it, so
Right.
more than happy to take you through anytime you want.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, any public comment? Okay, you guys are the only members of the public that are doing it.
Good.
All right, hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There's never anybody.
No one's opposed to that one.
Maybe next time.